MuleSoft Meetup number 13. So today we'll be talking about MuleSoft, MuleSoft Maven and Managing Dependencies. Let me jump over to the next slide. So I'll be doing the introduction slide and stuff like that. And then we've got our Gaurav speaker who will talk us through Maven, the introductions to it, so part one. But just before we get into announcements, just for the guys on site here, there is a toilet just down the hallway there. If you need to, you can just grab me or someone else here and they can show you where it is. For the guys online, I'm sure you can manage yourself. Then this is only our second hybrid meetup. So some things we did upload our meetup video a few days ago, so you can go and check that out. We'll send a link in the chat in a little while. This meeting is recorded over here, but we're just recording the speakers so the participants can sit in the back and don't have to worry about being recorded or seen or stuff like that. If you do come in person, you do get some pizza, some drinks, and can enjoy the good company of the people here. I'll go ahead into announcements. So one of the new things that has come out recently is the MuleSoft Trailhead badges. So this is something pretty cool because a lot of Salesforce guys that have been questioning trying out MuleSoft has really struggled on the way to learn MuleSoft because they see it as, sort of a wall of text that comes at them. But being able to transition some of those learning things onto Trailhead has actually been really, really good because same way that the Salesforce guys learn, you can do that interactive learning, you can do it here. So 3 new badges have just been set up probably about a week or 2 ago. So you can do a nice quick start for designer. You can integrate Salesforce and external databases using MuleSoft Anypoint platform, and then integrate multiple Salesforce orgs. So you can scan those QR codes there if you want to check them out to a quick link, and we'll also drop the links into the chat. I'll jump over into our organizers. So the MuleSoft meetup in Brisbane is run by 4 of us. So Nicholas Ip, who's from MuleSoft itself, Hugo Wei, who's over at Cardworks, Ryan and myself, Brian, who here at Capgemini. So we're all MuleSoft meetup leaders, mentors or ambassadors, stuff like that. So we really want to engage with the community in Brisbane. We want to share what it means to connect with MuleSoft. And for us, connecting, we see MuleSoft as more than just an integration platform that connects the systems, but we see the community here as a place to connect with each other as well. So not just connecting systems, but connecting people. Jump over onto the sponsors. So we've got Capgemini, who does sponsor this event. So the facilities for us to use for free. They give their office space and so on and so forth. So we can cut down on the cost and buy more pizza. Our speaker for today is Gaurav Dave. He's actually a MuleSoft developer at Capgemini, but he's also a MuleSoft mentor and MuleSoft meetup leader in both, I'm going to get these names wrong, but Ho and Gao in India, in 2 places in India, which is very, very awesome. And he's over here in Brisbane right now, so he can lead us through a talk of his own. Just pretty exciting for us to see. He's got 10 years of experience in IT with a human-first approach. So again, IT is more than just about systems, but it's about people connecting those. We'll actually jump over into the content. So I'll hand over through to go. Move. Oh, Mike. Better.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Thank you everyone for joining. So today we will be discussing about Maven mostly because this is a 2-part series where we'll be talking about Maven a lot in this session, and in the second session we'll be talking about mostly managing dependencies with Maven. This is an intro part. The next one will be a bit more detailed. And whatever we'll be doing in this session, you can also do it if you have the slides and if you're doing side by side. You don't have to have any other like Jenkins or Nexus repository or CI/CD. You can just follow the steps and do it straight away. So we all know about MuleSoft, but and we also know about Maven, but we don't know. Some of us may not know what it is, what exactly it does, how it works, what are its life cycles, what is parent POM, what is Super POM, all that stuff. So we will be discussing that today. So when we start, so Maven was introduced as a tool that can be used for building and managing any Java-based project. So before MuleSoft, if any of us is a Java developer, they used to work on some IDEs like Eclipse or NetBeans or something like that. So our Mule runtime engine is based on Java, and our Anypoint Studio is an IDE based on Eclipse. So that's how we get Maven in MuleSoft. But before Anypoint Studio 7, it was not was like the after Anypoint Studio 7, the MuleSoft has Mavenized every project. So in every project, you will be having Maven. So what are its objectives? So normally the first one is making the build process easy. So even if you do one project in Maven, you will know all the major stuffs and you can keep going. It has a pretty much stable build system. There are not much releases in Maven, mostly 2 to 3 releases in a year. And it has quality project information, and it encourages better development practices. So some of us may be wondering that is it necessary to install Maven while working with MuleSoft? So the answer can be yes also, and the answer can be no also. So MuleSoft, like Anypoint Studio, provides you with an embedded Maven. So if you want to use that, then you don't have to install it separately. But if you don't want to use the embedded Maven, then you can install Maven by yourself. So if you go to your Anypoint Studio preferences in Anypoint Studio Maven, you can see there is a checkbox which is saying use embedded Maven installation. So if this is selected, it will be using your existing embedded Maven. But if you uncheck that, there is another line where you can specify Maven installation home directory. So wherever you have installed it, you can give the path, so it will start working. So if you want to do some installation, some links are there which I'll explain later. We can download. It will be a zip package. You have to download it, unzip it at a location, and give its path in the environment or system variables. Then it will start working. So, but what does Maven actually do? So, our code is compiled through Maven. Our code is installed and deployed through Maven. So it actually gets your application and along with some necessary details, and it goes through a build lifecycle. Okay. So what are the life cycles? So majorly we have 3 life cycles. One is clean, second is site, and third one is default. So if you talk about clean life cycle, so it majorly cleans the project, removes all the build artifacts from your working directory. So whenever you run your project, first, it will clean whatever is there in, let's say, target folder, and then it's again do the build. So second one is site life cycle. This is the rarely used life cycle. It normally uses to create a website for your project. So most of us have not used this, I guess. And the third one is build life cycle. So in that default life cycle, you have multiple phases. So we'll talk about one by one. So validate, if you see, it will validate whether your project is correct and all the necessary information is available. Sometimes when you run the project, immediately you get some error like build failure or something, not able to run. So that may be because it is failing at the validate life cycle, validate phase. So some things are not correct. If the validate phase is proper, you will go to compile stage where your source code will be compiled, and then we'll go to the next steps. So test. So we have test phase in which your compiled source code will be tested using any framework, but normally like we use munits, there is JUnit also with Java. And after that, there is a package phase in which your code will be compiled and packaged in a format like jar. So as we know, it is Java based, so everything the distributable will be a jar file. After that, we have verify and install. So verify will run any checks on integration test, and install will normally install your package to a local repository. So the last phase will be deploy, which will deploy your application in the build environment and copies the final package to the remote repository. So all these phases are there, but these are only at the high level. There are more. So if you see, there is validate, then you have initialize, Then you have generate sources, process sources, then generate resources, process resources, compile process classes, generate test resources, process test resources, generate test resources, and process test resources. Then we have again test compile, process test classes, test, prepare package, package. Some are related to integration test, pre-integration test, integration test, post integration test, verify, install, and deploy. So there's a lot going on behind when we just do run or debug our application. So if you see any output of your, when you run, you can literally see every phase executing. So first line, if you see, it is clean. Second, you have validate. Fourth line, you have initialize, generate sources, process sources. Then you have process resources, compile, and everything. So this is very minute. So most of us may not have. So as I was preparing for that, so just added a screenshot of all the life cycle phases. After that, we will be thinking how Maven is achieving all this. So the main fundamental unit of work is the POM. So in your POM, you will specify everything, whatever your project credentials are, if it is some dependency, some plugins related issues and everything. So it is basically an XML file which will contain all the information about the project. So normally a minimal POM is the one which will have very less things. So the first parent tag will be project. So if you know XML, you always need to have one parent tag, and inside that you will be having other things. So project tag will be there. Inside that there will be a model version. This is always set to 4.0.0. Previously it was 3.0.0, but now it is 4.0.0. It will refer to a model version which every POM needs to have. Then you have a group ID, which will be the ID of the project, then artifact ID, your ID of the artifact, and the version. So this is the example. You have project, parent tag, model version, which will always be 4.0.0, then group ID, artifact ID, and version. So if you, I'll explain this. If you open any MuleSoft project, let's say if I'm going here, creating a new project, anything. So this is like project without any configurations as of now. So if you see its POM, you will have few things like this. So you have your project on the second line, then you have your model version, then group ID, artifact ID, version. Packaging needs to be Mule application in order to run it. Then you have a build tag, dependencies, repositories, and plugin repositories. So this is a normal Mule project form. So after this, as I told, every POM will inherit from a super POM. So that is defined. The structure of that super POM is defined over this link. So if you don't have it, then it will be an issue. So we will start a demo now, demo 1. So what we will do, we will create a project, Maven based project with some commands, and then we will try to import in Studio whether it is working or not, and we'll try how it goes. So we'll go to here. I'll open the command prompt. I will paste the command. So the structure is like MVN. It is command for Maven. Then there is archetype generate. you are specifying the same things which you specify in the POM, like group ID, artifact ID. So let's wait for it to be done. So your build is success now. So what I will do, now you got a project created by Maven. So it's like you will getting a POM, then source is there, which will majorly have main test. Structure is similar to MuleSoft, but it is mainly having Java. I'll try to import this in my studio. Let's see how it goes. So when it is imported, it will ask to perform some update because it is a Java project. Now, what you will see is some MuleSoft related things will be added to the folder structure. So now maybe I'll try to just run this project and see if it is directly, deployed. Mostly it will be giving some errors. So we will resolve those errors because we have directly imported a Maven created project into Studio. So till it runs, if someone has any questions, we can do that. So it should fail ideally. Yeah, it's failed. So there are numerous issues. So first we will solve one by one. So this version, it is not having minor this one. So I have add this 1.0.0 snapshot. Then I will do packaging needs to be Mule application. I will save it. I will remove some stuff from the build. I don't need it right now. So I have deleted everything from the build. I will add plugins section to this one. Then there will be two plugins which I'll be needing right now. So first one will be your Maven clean plugin. So I'll just copy the content and paste it in our POM. Then other one which I'll be requiring is Mule Maven plugin. So these two plugins are required. So I will add this one also. So these two plugins I have added. I have added Mule packaging and I have corrected the version name also. I will save it. So I'll just add one XML file normally. So one. Now again, I'll try to run this project. So it should work.
The application. We have a question. So, does a normal POM by default inherit some features of the current POM? Could you please throw some light on this current POM?
Yeah, it will come at the later section of the course. So then we will discuss. So normally, the idea behind this parent POM is to just have some features available in the parent form, which parent POM, which other POMs can inherit if they have the parent tag in them. So some organizations in some projects you will need have some control over what dependencies developers in your different projects are using. And if you have set a standard where you want to control that people shouldn't use things outside of what is defined by the organization, in that case you can create a parent POM. So it will be nothing but a simple POM where the packaging will be POM, and you will specify some things which will be in that POM. So if I am creating a new project and I'm inheriting that POM, whatever things are there in that POM will automatically come in my POM, right? So I don't have to uh, use some duplications. It will remove some duplications. It will have control of what developers are, what versions of things developers are using. So it will work like that. So this app is deployed right now. So we have what we did right now, created a Maven project from command prompt, imported it into Studio and removed its error and started working it in Anypoint Studio. So let's resume the slides. So there are some other normally we use. So there is a Maven resources plugin which manages operations related to some resources. Then there is a compiler plugin which is used for the compilation, and there is a surefire plugin which is used for the testing related things. So dependency mechanism, normally what do we call a dependency? So in POM, it is in the form of an artifact, but normally it can be a jar file or your another POM, right? So as we will be seeing in upcoming slides, you can have parent POM, you can have another POM also. So the parent POM you need to declare in your normal POM. So either it will be a jar or it will be a POM which your projects needs. So now where does everything is stored in Maven? So there are three types of repositories. So first is local, which will be on your M2 folder, all the stuff. Then there is a central repository. Remote repositories are also there. Some people, some companies normally have their own repositories, remote repositories. Then what happens normally when we run the project, let's say for the first time, your project is running. If all the dependencies for the first time, it will transfer the dependencies from your central repositories. In most of the cases, if it is not remote, everything will be transferred to your local M2, and from there it will be fetched. If it is not there, so the central means it will come from Maven, and the other means if it may come from other repositories like companies, big companies like Google, Facebook, and others will have their own repository management. Then normally the build directory is target folder. We all have seen a target folder. Our source directories are so src main Java for Java code, src main Mule for Mule code. Then we have src test Java for test directory Java, and then we have src test munits. Then coming to the parent POM, so as I was telling, it contains Maven build configuration that are not specific to a Mule application. So you want control, your organization wants some control on what you are using, then in that case you can use it. So what it does, it reduce redundancy. It also minimize conflicts. Sometimes when you do merge and all, in that case you may get some conflicts related to some versions, and it also streamline your dependency upgrade process. So you just have to update everything at one place instead of updating in every project. So it makes your life a lot easier. So what you will do, you will have a POM which will refer some content to the parent POM, and indirectly everything will come to your application. So here one thing you need to know is your packaging should be POM, and the POM which is using your parent POM need to have these things. So parent, group ID, artifact ID, version. So we will create a parent POM here. So the first tag here is XML. If you can see the Notepad++, then you have model version, which every POM needs to have. It is set to 4.0.0. Then we have group ID, artifact ID, version, the name of your POM, and the packaging. So see, the packaging always need to be POM. And let's say I am just extracting 4 properties, okay, which will be there in my parent POM. So what I have is Mule Maven plugin. I have Maven clean plugin. I have HTTP connector. I have, let's say, sockets connector, right? So that is all is there in my parent POM as of now. So what I will do, let's say this is my pom.xml, right? So I want to get all the version details from my parent POM, right? So what should I do? I should copy this parent tag which has all the details. I will copy this. I will put it in my project pom.xml. Okay. So group ID is there, artifact ID is there, version is there, right? I will save this. Okay. Now what I will do, I will remove this version from here, and I will just write some syntax. So Maven clean plugin version. Okay. Then I have remove this as well. Mule. Okay. Syntax error. Maven dot clean dot plugin dot version mule dot maven dot plugin dot version. So where are these two properties? So these two properties are here. Okay, see mule maven plugin version, maven clean plugin version, right? There is one more HTTP connector. So what I'll do, I will add one connector, listener and logger, just to show you how versions differ. So yeah, it's there.
When I have added HTTP listener,
There will be a dependency created in my POM. Have some version. So if you see it on the left hand side in the package explorer, HTTP version is 1.7.1, right? But in our parent POM, it is 1.7.2. Okay. So you can see now it is 1.7.1 in our project right now, but in POM it is 1.7.2. Okay. So I will just so you see HTTP connector dependency is added. I will change its syntax also here. So mule.http.connector.version. So I'll save it. So now I have HTTP connector.version, Maven clean plugin version, Mule Maven plugin version, everything. So normally what you need to do when you have a POM like this, and if you want to just try locally, you can go where you have created that POM. So you can just open the command prompt. You can package it. So mvn package is the command for that. and then you can do mvn clean install, then the POM will come to your local repository, right? So it is pretty simple. Now my parent POM is in my local repository. I have installed it. I have set the syntax. It has only 4 properties. So 3 of them we are using from POM. Socket I have not used as of now. So I'll just run this project now and see. Now already it has been 1.7.2. If you see on the left hand side, as it is there, it's already been 1.7.2. So from where it got 1.7.2, it is fetching it from your parent POM, right? So it will work. I will change it again to some, let's say 1.7.3, let it deploy. We will change, we will see that it is changed again to 1.7.3. Okay. So when I have added the listener, it was 1.7.1. Then when it was fetching from parent POM, it was 1.7.2. I will change it again once in the parent POM, install it. Then it should again change to 1.7.3. So can we take any questions till that time, if there is any?
So we have a question. So could you please explain the repositories? Under repositories, we have the Anypoint Exchange version 2 and MuleSoft releases. So what is the difference with that one for plugin repositories that has MuleSoft releases in POM XML?
Need to see that. So normally with respect to our Anypoint Studio and MuleSoft related repositories, uh, it will inherit, it will download everything from this path, I guess https maven.anypoint.mulesoft.com. So it's basically our exchange repository address and URL from where you will be fetching the repositories. And your dependencies, let's say I have dependencies and plugins have different purpose. Normally, if you see, plugins are required from Maven to do some Maven related work, and dependencies will mostly be of MuleSoft. Let's say I have added a listener right now, so it came into dependency. Connectors and all will come under dependency. So that's it. So now you can see the application is deployed. I will again change the parent POM version, let's say to 1.3 if it is available. I will package it again. And install it. So now if I go to my project, I will try to run it. Do we have 1.7.3? Need to check. Yeah, we have 1.7.3. So it is deployed. Version is not changed. Let me close project. Open it again. So you can see now the dependency is updated to 1.7.3. So we can do like that, whatever you want. If you want some control over, let's say your organization, you're having 5-10 projects and you want every project to use the same set of dependencies, whatever versions you want to define it, you can create a simple parent POM like this. It won't have much content, but it will restrict all your applications to use whatever standards you have defined for every dependency. And managing the dependencies will also be very easy, because you just have to change at one place, and whenever the other project people will run or debug their code, then your dependencies will all automatically be there. So that is the use. There is one more concept of bomb, so which we will be discussing in the next meetup. So I know this was pretty basic, and so that's why we divided this meetup into two parts. So the first one will be like most of the basics of Maven. In the next meetup, we will be learning some commands also, some settings.xml file, CI/CD, and all that stuff. So this demos you can practice if you have the slides. So it's very easy. But for the next one, we will be making it a little bit complex with CI/CD and all that stuff. So as of now, that is all for the meetup today. And this I'll transfer to Brian.
We can do questions.
Yeah, questions. Yeah.
If anyone in the audience has a question, you're welcome to ask. I'm pretty sure everyone online can hear you if you just want to speak up a bit. And then also address some of the questions that's come up in the chat there. I think only the bottom two hasn't addressed yet.
Yeah. So normally we work in different teams. It's not like, let's say if a very big organization has hundreds of projects going on, so they all will not be inheriting one parent POM only. So let's say I am working on some APIs in one particular project, right? So that project may have some parent POM, because they want control over dependencies in that particular project. So project to project, your POMs, parent POMs may vary. So you can have one parent form for one project, let's say, which may have some 10, 15, 20 APIs, and you can have other parent form from other project as well. So it is like that. And once you do any changes, you will again, yeah, notify the developers that there has been some changes. You can check and even if I am modifying parent POM, I won't be directly just changing the dependencies and just telling developers that, see, I have changed it, you go and test it. So it's maybe whoever is doing update in the parent POM, it's his or her job to check whether the things are compatible with their development stuff, right? They can test it and then only they can provide it in the parent POM. So if I'm just going one day and updating, let's say, any number which is not present, so my developers will have an issue uh, doing their work, because that parent POM will not have that stuff, right? That thing is not available. So whoever is updating parent POM, it's their responsibility to check everything whether it's working or not. Then only you can, let's say, modify and update your developers. Yeah. Yes. So second one is not a question, how to test POR and POM dependencies. So as of now, I haven't added dependencies in the parent POM. So what you guys can do, let's say, try doing, maybe you can remove these dependencies from here. Okay. And then you can try compiling your parent POM and see if you remove this, if the application works or not. Maybe it works or it doesn't work, so you will get to know that. So I haven't tried, but we will have more complex scenarios in the next time. So whatever questions we are getting, we will take a note of that and try to get some more scenarios uh, which satisfy the questions in this meetup also, and some next meetup as well.
Anyone else have questions?
And there is, if in the slides, there is a video as well. Dependency management, friends of Max demonstration. So you guys can go through that as well. But it again involves Nexus repositories, Jenkins, and all the other stuff which we have not implemented here because we wanted to keep things simple. And you just have to know the difference of parent POM and your normal POM. So I think with the help of two examples, we have hope you guys understood it, and you at least know what you can do in parent POM and what is normal POM. So just like if you have object oriented concept, right, inheritance and all, your application POM will inherit some stuff from your parent POM. So simple inheritance, you can say it like that.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I don't see anyone now. Maybe you can take over. Yeah, thank you.
If we can give a round of applause for. Yeah, let me just pop it over onto here. All right, cool. So in the presentation I go over today, it was part one and it was very basic. We were just sort of looking at what Maven is, how does it fit into MuleSoft and those sort of things. So I can see in the chat and also in the audience as well, like your thoughts are ticking over, like how do I use this in my organization? How do I use, the parent POM to manage dependencies and so on and so forth? These topics will all be covered up in part two, which Gaurav will be presenting. And I think he's going to be presenting it with a co-host as well. So we're doing it together with someone. And we'll go through some of those more complex scenarios that you've mentioned, like how do multiple projects inherit from this? How do we maintain it? How do we enforce certain policies and dependencies and so on and so forth? So that we'll be covering over there. We will look at parent POM in a lot more detail. And we'll also extend out to a BOM, which is a build of materials. So that's something that I haven't always seen in every organization. I always see POM and parent POM, but BOM is a little bit less common. But basically, it's keeping your dependencies, making sure that your version management is there, so you can make sure all your applications are using the same version and it gets upgraded across. So those are topics that Gaurav and another speaker will be covering for us next time, which will be October the 25th or something, I believe. But registration will be opening up pretty soon. We just wanted to make sure that we do one at a time, so people don't accidentally register for October. I think we don't have. That's the reason that wasn't up there yet. Let me pop over onto. Yep. All right. So for everyone that's here in person, we can do a little bit of a networking time catch up. You can speak to Gaurav if you have any questions. For the guys online, if you do have any more questions, you can pop them in the comments. You can also reach out directly to any of the MuleSoft Meetup leaders that are part of the Brisbane MuleSoft Meetup group, and you can also reach out directly to Gaurav. So all those details were there in the slides, and we'll be posting up the slides tomorrow, and we'll try and get the video a lot sooner to you guys this time by posting it up probably tomorrow, if not Friday at the latest, hopefully. So we do have a YouTube channel coming up, so we'll share that with you guys. But yeah, just wanted to thank Gaurav again for the work that he's done on this presentation. I know for myself, I only really know enough about Maven to get my application started and deployed. I don't really go too much more than that. So I find that that's quite the same for a lot of developers. We just know enough to get it working. So this has been really interesting and has popped up a lot of thoughts in my head about how we can use this and use it moving forward. So yeah, I just want to thank Rob and thank everyone for coming, and we'll see you again for the next one.